Hey, what's good, everybody? Ryan Scully here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new multi-sample percussion library from Soundiron called Street Bukit. Street Bukit has been captured in fine detail to bring home to you the famous do-it-yourself kits that have graced many a street corner for years and years. Soundiron's gone to the extent of capturing 3 separate bucket kits in 3 different environments that are all native to what an actual Street Bukit performer would be playing these kits at. You have a bedroom, a garage, and the street itself. Each kit for each separate environment is consisting of different instruments and articulations, and all are deeply sampled. For the purposes of this video, we're going to take a look at a brief demo track that I put together titled Urban Meters, highlighting the library. The patches that I used for this track are the garage and street ensemble patches, as well as 2 sound sources captured as urban environments, which have also been included into the library. As the track progresses, I'm going to open the MIDI regions themselves so you can take a look as to how I programmed in the percussion parts, and it'll give you an idea as to how these ensemble patches sound in the library. Also, pay close attention to the velocity layers and how the kits respond to them. At the conclusion of the track, we're going to take a look into some of the other patches that are contained in the library. And at the very end, we're going to get into the now well-known Mega Mixer patch, which you may have come across in some of Soundiron's other percussion libraries. For the purposes of this video, it may serve as a nice tutorial for you if you never have used one before, because we're going to go ahead and construct a custom kit from the ground up so it could give you a good idea as to how to use it and how to put it into your own compositions. So I'm going to go ahead and play the track now. Again, it's called Urban Meters. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the track. The name itself, Urban Meters, was derived from the fact that the time signature is consistently changing, at least through the beginning up into the end when we get more of a straight 4 feel. And the tempo is in constant fluctuation throughout, just to try to emphasize that live improvised performance. There's just one thing I want to show you what else I did on the ensemble patches before we move on to take a look at some of the additional patches in the library. And I did not use any external reverb, but what I did do, let me just pull the patch over here. For instance, here is the street ensemble patch. If you go over to the included effects racks, which you see all of the different modules we have here, for both the street and the garage ensemble, I did use the onboard stairwell convolution in order to bring a cohesion to the space, since they both have quite different reflections in the recording. So that's basically all I did, aside from some additional EQ and some light compression. So we're going to go ahead now and move on to some of the solo patches that you have in the library. So in addition to the ensemble patches that you have in the library, you also have what are called the solo patches, and you have one of these per each environment. What we're taking a look at right now, and we'll just do this example from within the Street Bukit Street Solo patch, is what it gives you is you have the option to use one sound, and these are all the different drums and instruments. And over here, you have a second sound. Now, what you can do is you can use just one. For instance, let's just pull up. Let's do kick up. And you could use this and spread it out chromatically along the keyboard. And what it does is it actually turns it into a tuned instrument. So let's just pull this up here just for demonstration's sake. Very easy to set your key range, by the way. Take a look. This is for your left sound. So if we just hit the set button here, it'll allow you to play the note to set it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit C0. So now I'm setting the low end here. And if I go ahead and set my top end, let's say, make that all the way up to here. So if you see on the keys down here, I've now stretched this sound all the way up to C2. So if I go ahead and play on the keyboard, you'll be able to hear how it's pitched chromatically from C0 up to C2. So it's a really nice, handy feature. I'm pretty low on the register there, but you get the idea. If we move over to the second area here of the instrument, you can go ahead and let's pick the lid. Now coming back over to our keys to set our key range, let's go ahead and choose C2. We just have set up already. And then C3 is already set. So now from C2 to C3, we have the lid instrument, as you can hear, and it's moving up chromatically in pitch. So it gives you lots of nice options. One thing you could do, which you can really start to get into some interesting territory, is you could actually combine the two sounds together, which will give you a whole realm of different tonal options. So let's just say, for instance, on the kick up 1, I'm going to want to stretch this over to have C3 as the ending note. So technically from C2 to C3, you're going to hear both the kick up 1 and the lid playing in unison. So let me just go ahead and set that up. Okay. So where you see the yellow keys right here, the two tones are actually sharing this range. So let's go ahead and play that. You can hear what it sounds like. So definitely pretty cool because you're getting the low end of the kick up 1 in tandem with some of the poppiness of the lid. So you're sharing the two tonalities here, and you could obviously do this pretty much along the entire key center, which is a really nice feature. All right, so let's take a look at some of the other features that you have in the solo patches. Just worth noting, as you can see, for each sound, like over here, like we said, we have the kick up 1 and then the lid on the right. You have full independent control over their envelopes, offset control, and you could even manually control the pitch and the pan and the velocity sensitivity from both sides, which is it's nice to be able to maintain that level of control. Now, if we want to move into some sound design territory, we have a really nice option with the onboard filter and LFOs. So let me just pull this up here right now. So as we can hear, this is just the sound on its own. Now let's go ahead and add a filter, and let's turn on the LFO and play around with some of the settings here, just so you could hear some of the different tonal options you can get. So that is with the filter, and we have cutoff control here and resonance here. And as with anything on the contact interface, these can all be assigned. If you want to just do a simple right click, you could do learn MIDI CC if you want to assign it to a controller, and which you could also do via host automation if that's the route you want to go. And so now let's take a look at the LFO, which you can really get some very modern and cool sounds going with it. All right. So as you can see, that's just a quick run through there. But you have the option to change the waveform as well that's going into the filter. So all sorts of different types of different tonal options you could get going just from the LFO section. And over here, we have a tremolo as well, which is a really cool little feature. So let's just go ahead and check that out quick before we move on. All right. So that is the onboard LFO. All right, so we're going to take a look at one last feature of this patch before we move on towards the end of the video, and that is for the onboard arpeggiator. Now, you may have seen this arpeggiator in many other Soundiron libraries known as the Uberpeggiator, and it's very deep, and there's many different controls that you can do to manipulate the arpeggiator. We're just going to look at two of the most basic entries into that. Now, what you see here is a velocity table, which you can control the amount of steps. We'll just bring it right back down to 4 here. And then, the level of the velocity for what you're going to play. And by hitting this button here, that's going to enable the table velocity. So let's go ahead and move the mode to on. So this is going to enable the arpeggiator. And this is our selected rhythm here, which is syncable to your DAW. So let's go ahead and play it, and you can hear what it sounds like. So that is utilizing the table velocity. If you wanted to opt to not use the table, you could rely more closely on the different controls that you have here, which controls hit percentage, the amount of hits, the duration of each note, swing, randomization, and pitch as well. So we won't go too much further into that, but you get the same general idea. So this mixed with the LFOs plus everything else you have really do give you an enormous amount of tonal variety beyond just using the pitched instruments on their own. Okay, so last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look at the included Mega Mixer patch. So what I've done here is I've loaded up the Street Mega Mixer. You have this again in each of the 3 different environments. And as you can see, from 1 through 8, these are all available slots so you can build your own custom drum kit. So I've left them empty. So what we'll do is I'm going to fill up the first 4 just in the interest of time so you can get a good idea as to how to do this. It's really simple and intuitive the way the controls are laid out. So you should have no problem getting this going. And we also went over some of the functionality in the solo patch before. So let's just go ahead and get started with setting up a kit here. Okay, so as you can see, I've loaded up in each of the 4 available slots 4 different instruments. On the first one, we have kick up 1, and the second one, we have center. On the third one, we have edge, and on the fourth one, we have lid. For each available slot, you have independent volume control. As you can see, I'm just moving on the knob right here. And by clicking on the corresponding number for each slot, it brings you up the available editing features for that slot. So right now we're taking a look at 1, which is corresponding to kick up 1. You have full independent control of panning, manual pitch, and velocity sensitivity. And at the bottom here, the same thing we took a look at earlier in the solo patch is going to translate over into the mega mixer, as far as setting your available key range. Right now we just have it spread across 3 keys for the kick up 1, but let's say I wanted to move it from C all the way up to F. All I have to do is go to the range button here, click on the second one, which it's now telling me to play the note, and I just have to hit F. So now I've expanded kick up 1 from C all the way up to F. Now this becomes handy if you want to, for instance, make this from untuned to tuned, because now you're going to get them pitched, as you can hear. So that's just one potential option for doing that, or you can go ahead and mix up the 2 tonalities together, as we saw. As right now this is kind of bleeding into a bit of the center, so you get yourself some nice different tonal options that way. So let's just go ahead and move this back down to 3. Okay, so now we're just going from C back up to D. As you can see, each of these is just set for the next corresponding 3 notes. So as we said earlier, you could expand these, you can contract these, you could do all sorts of different things, but the bottom line is that you have 4 now instruments of your choice put together for a custom kit, so as you can hear. So you could stretch this all the way up to 8 slots, expand this over the entire key range, and it just gives you a ton of different options and can become really handy in situations such as live performance. One thing you could also do with this new Mega Mixer is you can save and load different setups with these 2 buttons here. And as we demonstrated earlier in the solo patch, you have full control over the arpeggiator and LFOs, as well as the general envelope for everything that you're doing within this patch. So this is the Mega Mixer. Hopefully this gave you an idea of how easy it is to set it up, and also how powerful it is to use in your arrangements. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this screencast. I hope you found the information we covered informative, and it gives you a good idea of what you could achieve with this brand new Street Bukit library. As always, for more information on this product, as well as many others, head on over to soundiron.com for more details. Again, this is Ryan Scully. It's awesome spending time with you, and I look forward to next time. Have a good one.